I think I'm live, I think I'm live, I think I'm live. I think I'm live. Peace, love, harmony, and light. This is Chief Kalanago with another video. Alrighty, I'm gonna give you guys some time to tune in to the live feed. We're about to talk about a few things that you may find useful. The information that I'm about to provide is public information, so feel free to research the information. You don't have to take anything for face value, but hey, do your own research. I think I have done some videos in regards to the topic or the topics that I'm going to speak on today. And I'm not sure if, those videos got taken down by YouTube. I'm not sure. I'm not going to blame YouTube for that one, but for some reason, those videos are not present on my channel. So we're going to talk about a few things and really break down some information that will kind of give you an idea and put things into, perspective as to what's happening with the people, the masses right now. So I'm going to give you guys some more time to log in, tune in, and I need to know if my audio is on, if my audio is live. So if somebody could give me a feedback on that, that would be very, very, very much appreciated. All right. So I'm just gonna chill for a minute. I know it's early on Sunday, and some of y'all may have partied last night, and you're still in bed. So I know maybe I should have done this live a little later, but hey, the video is gonna be there for everybody to check it out. All right. So, but anyway, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and get into this. So as you could see, the topic of the video is liquidating assets. All right. You are worth more dead than you are alive. And after this discussion, or whether you call it lecture, whichever way you terminize what I'm doing, you'll realize what's going on. Okay, and I hope it makes sense to you, because a lot of times people don't realize that they are in a burning building. Even if a building is on fire and people are telling you to get out, the building is on fire. The people that's in the building sometimes don't even know. All right, so they are still comfortable. And that's what's happening to the so-called, or well, not so-called our people, but our people who are so-called Black and African Americans today. All right, they are in a burning building and they don't know that the building is on fire because they have no idea what's happening for a few reasons. Okay, reason number one, they just don't know because they weren't taught. Number two, they know and they don't care. Number three, it's like, hey, you know what? It is what it is, which is basically the same thing. I don't care. But you have to realize that we have a responsibility. As the current generation, we have a responsibility. And what I mean by that is every generation tried to make it better for the one before. And we have to ask ourselves, what is the legacy? What is the legacy are we living for the people who are coming after us, the children, the babies? Okay, are we going to live the same mess that we're in? Are we going to let them inherit that same mess? You see what I'm saying? So brothers and sisters, we got to do better than this. We have to do better than this. All right. Now, if you don't know where you came from, it's going to be hard to know where you're going. All right. And you have to know how you got into that mess to fix it. I'm going to give you an example. If you have your car and your car is, running just fine, and all of a sudden your car is giving problems, but you don't know what the problem is, then my question to you is, how can you fix it? You see, you have to know the problem. Is it the brakes? Is it the clutch? Is it the transmission? Is it a cable? Is it the fuse? What's wrong with my car? How am I gonna fix it if I don't know the problem? All right, do me a favor, songs of Epic, I think that's what it is, peace and love. Let me know if you could hear me. I just wanted to make sure that the sound is on, because this information is very important, and I need the people to get this information. All right, because like I said, the knowledge You know, the teaching, it got to go on. Hey, Sherry Twin, okay, you can. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What's up, Sherry? Good looking. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I know it's a bit early. All right. And so liquidating assets, what does that mean? First, we have to take a look at what the word assets are, because a lot of our people think that everything is great. You know, I have a job, I go to work, my children go to school, I could go to the store, I could buy food, put on the table, I could turn on the cable, I could get on YouTube, I could get on Facebook, I got my phone. They think that life is all well and grand, not realizing that they are not living, they are surviving. And I'm gonna give you a typical example. Gentrification is at I want to say its highest peak, but it's at an all-time rise. And I'm certainly sure gentrification has always been around from the moment these foreigners set their foot on our land. But you see, what's happening is this. Even in New York, it has been happening like 10 years ago. Well, I don't want to exaggerate. Maybe about 7 to 8 years ago, I did a video speaking on gentrification. And I told people that you better hold on to your homes. Be careful, because these so-called Jews, they are coming and they're going to take everything that you have. They're going to push you out, and they're going to make room for other ethnic groups, making you think that they are upgrading the standard of your neighborhoods. But what you don't realize is that when these people, it's all about a social status, okay? When you are making minimum wage, and then they introduce people into your neighborhoods that's making 3, 4, 5 times the amount that you are making, then property value goes up. The value of the neighborhood goes up. So now if you were paying $800, $900 for rent in a 1-bedroom, you will find yourself now paying $1,200, $1,500, $1,600. Even right now in Brooklyn, 1-bedroom apartments is like $1,500. And they know you can't afford it, but that's to push you out. So when you think that everything is okay, when you get comfortable, they never want you to be comfortable. And a lot of our people don't realize the game that's being played on them. So now in every corner in Brooklyn, the Jews are putting up homes. They're putting up these high rises, charging people $1,800, $2,000 for a 1-bedroom, a 1.5 bedroom. They are pushing you out. They are putting the pressure on you to get you out. And I always ask a question. When you run from your home and you go to another location, when they come to that location and they start doing the same thing with the gentrification, you're going to run to another location. They come to that other location. At what point are you going to tell yourself, I'm going to stop running? At what point are you going to stop running? And that's the problem. So if you don't know what the problem is, you cannot fix the problem. So I'm going to make an attempt. I'm trying to get some more light with, you know, my cell phone cameras, because the lighting is here is not that great. So pardon me. Okay. Where was I? So I'm going to go back as far back as I can to show you exactly how you ended up in this situation, because it's only when you know what the problem is, you are able to fix it. So I'm going to go and let's look at the definition of assets, because I want to stay on topic here. All right. Liquidating assets. You are worth more dead than alive, because I'm always, well, I don't look at the news, but people send me videos. Hey, Chief, check this out. And they are showing me videos of another so-called black man getting shot, another so-called cis black woman getting shot. And I'm doing this because we are not black, okay? And calling yourself black, to me, that's just the craziest thing. But the point of the matter is people, grown people, are continuously calling themselves a color. All right. And it's not that I don't care. I tell people, don't share these things with me. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. Not that I don't care. It's just that I don't want it to be a part of my reality. Because anything you invite into your energy field and you consume it, it becomes your reality because you are what you eat. Okay? So I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear that. I want to continue to build. That's the only way we're going to change anything. Okay? And I'm not saying ignore things. Yes, we are aware of it. But my question is, what are we doing to change the situation? Constantly walking in the streets screaming Black Lives Matter is not going to help. It has never helped, and it will never help. Anything that you do over and over and over again, expecting a different result, and it hasn't worked for you in the past, is called insanity. At what point are you going to stop? At what point are you going to say, man, listen, what we have been doing for the past 200 years, marching in the streets, screaming Black lives, civil rights. What you don't realize is that you don't have any rights when you call yourself Black. When you call yourself African American, you have no rights. You have privileges that's awarded to you. Now, what's a privilege? Okay, you see, privileges have perks. But the major downfall of a privilege is that it can be taken away at any moment in time. Now, when you have a right, you see, a right is set in stone. A right is what comes from the Creator. A right is what comes from nature. Unalienable rights, okay? Your rights are unlimited. Because yes, I have the right to blink. I have the right to put up my hand. I have the right to shout. I have the right to take my shirt off. I have the right to do as I please. That is the true definition of free will. That's the true definition of free will. As long as you're not imposing and hurting people or damaging their property, then you have the right to be what you are and who you are. And who is another man or a woman to judge you for that? Because you see, those people, they are still vibrating in their lower chakras, their lower frequencies. And it's okay. Because again, it's called duality. The only way to know if good exists is for you to compare it to evil. And the only way for you to know whether evil exists is to compare it to good. So you have to have the two to make a choice. The comparison, and then you decide, well, I'm going to walk in truth or I'm going to walk in the lies. So with that being said, you have to go back to the root of things. How did we get into that situation? What's the problem here? Yes, I have my car, the engine start knocking. Oh, wow, man, you know what? I haven't changed my oil in 2 years. So now I got to go change my oil. But a lot of us are still traveling with the same broken cars and taking Scotch tape and putting it on it, Band-Aid, and thinking we are going to fix the problem. No, a Band-Aid is a temporary fix. It's not going to fix the problem. And the truth is, you are worth more dead than you are alive. And I'm going to break this down to you. So let's look at the definition of, well, first, let's look at liquidating, right? Liquidating, because that is the first word in the topic. So I'm going to share my screen here for a second. And once again, like I said, this channel, at least my channel, is about positive vibrations, uplifting the people. Okay, so please, anyone who comes in the live chat, let us keep it positive. Let us keep it with all love. Now, anybody who comes in any negativity, you will be blocked. All right, I'm just letting you know right off the rip. Okay, so let me share the screen real quick, and we're going to look into a few things here. Bear with me here for a second. Alrighty, then let us look at the definition of liquidation of assets. What does it mean? Now, there's a brief description, and we're just going to go with that right here. As you could see, I'm on, what is that? Google, Wikipedia, I guess. But right here, I'm reading from this, okay? Liquidation of assets, or definition of liquid assets. Pardon me. An asset that can be converted into cash in a short time with little or no loss in value. Liquid assets include items such as accounts receivable, demand and time deposits, gilt edged securities. In some countries, precious metals, usually gold and silver, are also considered liquid assets. Now, this may not make sense to you. However, it will make a lot of sense when I break it down. So I'm going to read this again. And you see, they have taught us to read and finish. For me, I say read and start. Let us break every single thing down so we get a true understanding of what we are trying to perceive. Okay, let's do this again. An asset that can be converted into cash in a short time with little or no loss in value. Liquid asset includes items such as account receivable, demand and time deposits, gilt-edged securities, in some countries, precious metals, usually gold and silver. Now let us focus here on these two. I mean, of course, we have, accounts receivable, but let us focus on gold and silver here. Let us make that our point of reference in this short description. Okay? For those of you who don't know, gold and silver was actually the true form of currency within the United States. Somewhere around 1933, Roosevelt, the president, at that time, the United States was on a rise, okay, striving for power, to be one of the main powers in the world. Now, they had World War I, which cost them a lot of money. It cost them a lot of collateral, okay? And they wanted to go and, again, do World War II, but they didn't have the money. They didn't have the currency to fund World War II. So what they did was they reached out to a few world bankers to give them the money, the resources, so that they could, fund World War II. But the bankers said, well, we funded you for World War I, and it's costing us a lot of money. We haven't gotten any of our monies back. So therefore, we want to make sure if we give you money, we want to support you. But if we give you the money, we want to know how can we get it back. It's a loan. It's not a gift. Okay, so what they did was I'm going to say they created, okay? They created a depression because once you have the people and the people are rich in the land, then that country will strive. However, when you take away the power from the people, then that becomes a problem. So what they did was they made it a law that anyone who has gold and silver, they have to turn it in. They gave them, if I'm not mistaken, a year to turn in all their gold and silver for what's called the paper note, the Federal Reserve note, what you currently call money. That piece of paper, it has no value. The same piece of paper that, yes, people are destroying each other's lives for. People are killing each other for. People are lying for to gain power. That's that piece of paper. So they took away the real money. Okay, or let's just put it that way. The one that had value, gold and silver, and they created the Federal Reserve notes. All right? And the bankers said, well, we are going to fund the World War II. So they funded the world wars. But what the people don't realize is that once the gold and silver was taken, their power was taken because they had no money with value. No money with value at all. So if you look at the Federal Reserve notes, what does it say? It says for legal tender. It's just a piece of paper that shows that a transaction was done. You give me something, I give you a piece of paper. It's a promissory note. I promise to pay you sometime in the future. So the truth of the matter is the United States has no money. No real money at all. At least they're not giving it to you. A piece of paper is not real money. So what had to happen? When even before that, what they had to do was to gain control. So once the United States gained its power and it couldn't pay back the world bankers said, you know what, man, in order for us to give you that money to fund World War II, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make sure we get our money back. So they had to create a system so that they could make sure they get their money back. Now, seeing that they didn't have any money, they needed a form of collateral. What was the collateral? The collateral was the people. The people. Now, of course, the people and the land, they go hand in hand. But the only way to gain access to the land is through the people, because your body goes back to the soil. Your body is the same as the soil. Whenever you speak of soil or land, you speak of people. So what they had to do is they had to make the people collateral. In other words, the people became the bargaining chip for the world bankers. So what they had to do, a bond was created. So now that you know what, the definition of liquid assets are, let us go. I think let's look at asset here real quick. An asset, a useful or valuable thing, person or quality. Let us look at person here. Person. Now, that's a very key word. All right. Let us look again. Property owned by a person, company regarded as having value, availability, commitments, or legacies. All right. Person is the key word I want you to take a look at right here. Person. A lot of people are afraid of the word person. Person in itself is not a bad word. I'm a person. What makes it a problem is when you become a legal person. A legal person is property. A legal person is not a real flesh, blood person. It's a person that was created. And I'm going to show you exactly what happened and how that happened. Once again, if you don't know how you got into the situation, you will not know how to get out of the situation. All right. So this is what this lecture is all about. Going to the root of things. Okay. So that the collateral was created. Who was the collateral is the question. It's the people of the land. So the deal was made with the world bankers. If we cannot pay you, then you will own the people, the people's labor. It's called human resources. Why do you think every job has a human resource center? Because you are the resources to pay back, okay, the loan that the United States took from the world bankers to fund their wars so that they could become a world power. You were the collateral, human capital. That's what you became. Now, they couldn't force you to do it. Well, I'm certainly sure they could with guns and knives, but they didn't want to do it that way. So what did they introduce? They introduced what's called the birth certificate. You see, the birth certificate is the key to all this. All right. Now I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of the history of the birth certificate. We're not going to get into the history of that per se. However, we're going to speak on it. And just to give you a quick foundation, it says in England and Wales, the description birth certificate is used to describe a certified copy of an entry in the birth register. Civil registration of births, marriages, and deaths in England and Wales started on the 1st of July, 1837. So a lot of people think birth certificates are old. No, they are actually new. It's a new institution, and that was created for a reason. Once again, the collateral, which was the people, there had to be a guarantee that the world banks could get their monies back. So the birth certificate was the bond. Now let us look at the definition of bond. Bond. What is a bond? A bond is a fixed income investment in which an investor loans money to an entity, typically corporate or governmental, which borrows the funds for a defined period of time at a variable or fixed interest rate. Bonds are used by companies, municipalities, states, and sovereign governments to raise money and finance a variety of projects and activities. Owners of bonds are debt holders or creditors of the issuer. Okay, now that's very, very important. So now that you know, the birth certificate started what's called the legal voluntary form of slavery. It was a bond that was created. Now let us go look at another definition of the term covenant. Covenant. All those things are coherent to what I'm speaking on. Okay? Covenant, an agreement. So you see, the birth certificate was a bond. A birth certificate is written and created on bond paper. And it became a covenant between the so-called God. Who plays God? The government plays gods. They play gods because they feel that they are above man. When the truth of the matter is, it's the opposite way around. Man and woman created governments. The people created governments. Therefore, the government's supposed to work for us, not the other way around. We're not supposed to work for them. The creation should never rule the creator. So the covenant, an agreement, okay? An agreement, especially by lease, deed, or other legal contract. So a covenant is a contract. The birth certificate is a contract. The marriage certificate is a contract. The death certificate is a contract. So that's how this voluntary form of slavery started. So now that you have an introduction, okay, as to how you got into that situation, now you may have an idea as to how you need to get out of the situation. So please look up the information. Don't take anything I say, okay, as the truth. Research it yourself. Study the information. Let it make sense to you. So the birth certificate, when you take a look at your birth certificate, the majority of us, and even myself, my parents, more so the mother is the informant. And I've already mentioned that before. Informant. Now, if we look at the definition of informant, let us look at the definition of informant here. Give me a second here. Definition of informant. And you will see exactly what and who our mothers were. Definition of informant. Bear with me here for a second, brothers and sisters. Here. Let me make sure this is spelled correctly. Okay. Definition of informant. A person who gives information to another. Another term for informant is informer. Okay. A person from whom a linguist or linguist or anthropologist obtains information about a culture, whatever. But let's look at informer. An informant is an informer, a person who informs on another person to the police or authority. Let us look at that word authority right here. Who is the authority? The federal government is the authority. So your mother is the person, okay, who informed the authority, which is the federal government, that you were born. A baby was born. So therefore, what was created for that baby, okay, what you have to realize is this. A contract could never be a contract without two, let me rephrase that. A lawful contract could never be a contract that is signed without free and prior informed consent. So in other words, even if your mother signed that contract, you don't have to honor that contract because you were not of a legal age and sound mind to make your own decision. Your mother made that for you. So therefore, no one could hold you liable or responsible because it was done without your prior and free informed consent. So that contract is null and void. So therefore, that birth certificate is null and void. It only becomes valuable when you give consent or you say that it's yours. So your mother, our mothers, became the informants, the person who sold us out, the person who ratted us out to the federal government that a slave was created, a form of property, human chattel, human resources. So what had to be created? Okay, you were born, you and I, we were born free, living flesh, babies, boy and girl. Okay, and we only became property only when this was created, only when the birth certificate was created. Without the birth certificate, they have no contract. There is no covenant. There is no agreement. So that is the foundation of our enslavement. Okay, that was the foundation of our enslavement. That was where the covenant was created. The covenant between man and the so-called God, the government that's playing God. This has nothing to do with the creator or the Most High. It has to do with government and the people. And the people created the government, but yet still the government want to control the people, which is totally unlawful. So now that you know how we got into that situation, without the birth certificate, there could never be a contract. There could never be a covenant. But our parents, they were not educated. They were not taught that. So therefore, they tell you you need a birth certificate. Not just you need one, you got to sign that birth certificate. And what they do is they send the original copy to the federal government and they give you a copy. And that original copy they send to the government is sent around the world, or not necessarily sent around the world in literally, but it's stamped by pretty much all the world bankers, okay, that needs to get paid because we all are what's called human resources, collateral to pay the debt, a debt that could never be paid because you know why? They are trying to pay it with federal notes. It's a promissory note. I promise to pay. It has no value. And it boggles my mind that our people are here killing each other, lying on each other to destroy each other for a piece of paper. And that's really sad. So now we are caught up in a system to be human resources to pay a debt that could never be paid because it's on a promissory basis. And I hope you are truly understanding what's going on and what has transpired. It is that covenant. Okay, it was that bond that was created between the government that's playing God and the people. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys this. Let me go back to the live feed. Let me just stop sharing this here. Okay, good. So far, I hope this information is making sense. All right, I hope it's making sense. Now let us really dive into this right now. Okay, because I had to go show you guys all that information so that you truly, really get a true understanding of why the assets are being liquidated right now. Okay, now, this is the situation here. When the birth certificate was introduced, okay, a trust was created. Okay, a trust was created. And the only way for the government, the government entities, the agencies, the agents, the only way for them to access that trust, okay, or to gain money from that trust is a couple of ways. Is by your signature, because you see, there's no money. They cannot just generate money out of thin air. The banks have no money. And I'm going to prove it to you, okay? If you use Cash App, all right, and you send somebody $50 from your Cash App, immediately that shows up in their account. Let me ask you a question. Where was the money at? You didn't take the physical money and give it to anybody. It was virtual. It's not real. It doesn't exist. But yet still it shows up available in your account. The point I'm trying to make is this. Money will not be generated and created unless you sign something. So that's one way to access your trust. Another way to access your trust is to put you in jail. To put you in jail. Remember, I told y'all, I did a video about the Constitution and what it means to be a citizen of the United States. You got to be a subject, naturalized and a subject. And yes, you have rights, but your rights will be taken away if you are convicted of a crime. So therefore, you have to be convicted of a crime so they could take you out of the streets and put you in a jail so that they could access your trust. Because when you were born, a living baby, flesh and blood, the birth certificate was created. That means you were a live baby. So the birth certificate, again, is actually a death certificate. So that's why they had to create the all caps, the all capital letters, okay? So that caps, a capstone, a graveyard. If you go into the cemetery, you will see that they have what's called a tombstone. Another word for tombstone is capstone. It is the same thing. Capstone is symbolic, or capital letters is symbolic for the capstone. So they have made you dead. It's called dead on arrival. A live baby is born. We sign the birth certificate and we create another entity to replace the living baby, which is a capital entity that's dead within law or within the legal system. So all your life, you are living your life thinking that you are a man and a woman, when in actuality, you are a legal person. You are not real. They created a shadow you, a fictitious you. And I've done videos on this before, but I'm really taking my time to break this down. Go look at your identification. Go look at every bill that comes to your house. You will see that your name is in capital letters, okay? Because they are dealing with the dead man and woman. You, the living man, the real man and woman, is representing that all caps letter. It's not you. It is not you. It is a fictitious you that you are representing. You are playing the role. Another example, when Ray Charles movie was done, they had Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles. Ray Charles is not Jamie Foxx. However, Jamie Foxx played Ray Charles, and he played it so well. I was almost convinced that Jamie Foxx was actually Ray Charles. So because you were taught to play that fictitious entity all your lives, you were playing it so well that even you have convinced yourself that the all cap entity is you. You're an actor playing yourself, but you don't even know that. And who else is the best person to play you than you? You see, that's why everything that they do is called an act. Everything that's passed, they are passed through acts, because you have to act it out. A police officer is not, the man is not a police officer. The man is acting as a police officer. A judge is not a judge. The man is not a judge. The man is acting as a judge. Okay? The all caps letter in your name, the capital name, that you see that's on your ID, on your birth certificate, okay, on your bills, that's not you. You are acting as the all caps entity, and that's the dead entity. And that's why you are worth more dead than you are alive. Because when the live baby was born, they had to make you dead by creating the birth certificate, which is the same thing as a death certificate, so that they could access your trust. And that's how they get paid. So when they pull you into court and you step into the court, okay, and you approach the judge, and the judge say, well, put up your hand, and you swear, and you say your name. Well, John Doe, for instance. Tell us your name, social security number. All right. John Doe, 9999 0. You give them your social. Guess what you just did? You just accepted the role of a dead man or woman in the court. So therefore, you have no rights. Dead people have no rights. So why do you get mad when the judge tell you that you are guilty? When the judge tell you you got to pay a fine? When the judge tell you you got to go to jail? Why do you get mad? When you are playing a game you don't understand. They are just doing a job. They are acting a play. It's a script that's already written, and everybody's playing a role. And however, you are playing a role that you don't understand. You are playing yourself, but you don't even know that you're playing yourself. Literally, you are getting played. So I hope that's making sense. It may seem a little bit complicated, but it's not when you really take your time and really break it down to know exactly how we got into that situation. So now they are liquidating the assets because they have to get that money. The only way for them to create that money, like I said, okay, that's the only way, because a trust has been created. But the problem is these officials, these governments, these entities, these agents, they are breaching the trust. Because the people that the trust was set up for, which they are the true beneficiaries, they are not benefiting from that trust. The people we have entrusted with our lives, they are the ones benefiting from our trust. Because they are accessing your trust. They are getting paid $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month just because you don't know what's going on. So should we get mad? Yes, we have every reason to be mad. But mad at whom? That's the question. Mad at ourselves because we are playing a game we don't understand. So when you go into the court or a police officer pulls you over and he reads you your right, and then he asks you, do you understand? And you say, yes, you understand. Guess what you just did? You just put yourself under their jurisdiction because you are admitting that you are under them. I will never tell a judge, I understand. I will never tell a judge, I understand. No, I will never tell a police officer, I understand. No, I'm not under anything. As a matter of fact, I'm over the information that you are telling me and that you are giving me. I will never walk into a court and say, this is who I am. No, that's not me. Are you that legal person? Are you that person? Yes, I am a person, but I'm not a legal person. That's not me. It's not me. But you have to know how to articulate yourself. You have to learn the game. A lot of us may not want to play the game, and that's cool. But the truth of the matter is you are in the game whether you like it or not. It's like the Game of Thrones. It's a series, and every actor is in the Game of Thrones, whether they want to be a part of it or not. If you didn't want to be a part of it, then you would not audition for it. If we didn't want to be a part of it, then our mothers wouldn't have signed that birth certificate and created the bond, the covenant with the government that's playing God or Lord. However, it was done involuntarily. So now it's your responsibility as a man and woman to say and know that that contract is of no benefit to you. As a matter of fact, it's causing you more harm than good. I hear people saying, my birth certificate. My question to you is this: what company of yours that you used to create that birth certificate? You didn't create it. So how can it be yours? It's not yours. It was given to you as a gift. And yes, your mother accepted it for you on your behalf. Now, should you be held or should you be held responsible? No, because it was done without free and prior consent. You were merely a child. Man, you didn't even give yourself your name. So how much of you is actually you? That is the question you have to ask yourself. So the trust, the only way for them to access that trust, okay, is so that they have to make you dead. That's it. So when you go into the court, from the moment you enter into the court, you're literally a dead man or a woman walking because you don't have the knowledge. You don't have the knowledge because they are only playing a role. They are acting out the play. So you have to know how to manage and handle yourself. Okay? So liquidating the assets, that takes me to the point where people complain about black men and black women are getting killed in the streets. Now, don't get me wrong, and please do not misconstrue what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: I am not saying that it's moral. You see, there's a difference between what's moral and what we call what's right and wrong. Now, what's moral is always right. However, every institution, they have a right. Now, I'm not saying it's moral, so please do not misconstrue what I'm saying. They have a right to do what they choose with their property. That's just the truth. I cannot go tell another man or a woman what to do with their slave. I can't do that. That's someone's property. Now, let us go look at the definition of property, so we'll truly get another understanding of where we are going with this. Okay? Definition of property. And then I'm going to come share the screen here so that we really get into this. Property. Okay? Because we have to truly understand and overstand exactly what this is. All right? Let me see. Maybe I should put legal definition here. Give me a second here, brothers and sisters. Legal definition. All right, here we go. Let me see if that's going to come up. Various forms, ownership, forms of ownership, and tenacity is real property. Well, property. All right, so let me just share the screen. Although you guys know what property is, but you know, I want you to see things. All right, see things. Let us just look at definition of property. Okay, property. Oh, you know, even better yet, let us look at the etymology of the word property. Etymology of property. And etymology is the root created for. All right. Now, that's on online dictionary. All right. It's free online. You guys can check it out. 13th century. Proput. Nature, quality, later possession, thing, owned. A sense of rare before from an Anglo-French modification of Old French, appropriate individuality, peculiarity, property. Let me see if I'm trying. Ownership, a property, propriety, quality, literally special character, noun of quality, one's own, possessions, private property. So let's look at this term private property here, okay? So that you will really understand what I'm saying and understand what I'm saying, right? Private property. So when you look at the government, once that birth certificate, that bond was created, that covenant was signed by the informant, which is the mother, you became property. Property. You became the possession of the federal government. You became personal property. So therefore, no one could tell any man or woman what to do with their property. The problem is the government is acting as a living flesh entity because property cannot own property. So that contract is null and void. But people don't know. And what you don't know will hurt you. You perish for the lack of knowledge. So therefore, since that you are property, you are in the possession of the government. And they control every facet of your life. Unless you tell them otherwise. Hey, you know what? I'm not a child anymore. I am of sound mind. I am competent. I am competent. And therefore, I can make my own decisions. And we have no contracts. You see, all the contracts that was created on my behalf as a child, it was done without my free and prior consent. And therefore, I do not give my consent. I withdraw all contracts. It's null and void. You consent to everything. Let us go look at the definition of consent. I mean, we have to look at the definition of these words because it's the only way to know what we are doing. Consent. Definition of consent. And let us look at the definition here real quick. We have to get into the meaning of the words. We have to, my brothers and sisters, we have to. Let us share this real quick. Consent. Okay? Consent. Here we are. Number one, a noun. Permission for something to happen or agreement to do something. Verb. To give permission for something to happen. So the only way for them to access your trust is for you to give them your consent. Okay? Is the only way that trust is going to, for them to access your trust, is for them to have your consent. So when you get a speeding ticket, a citation, what they call violation, any form of ticket, they are offering you a contract. And when you take it, okay, then you are consenting. When you go to the court and the magistrate asks you to say your name, state your name, okay, and you say, I am such and such, you have just accepted the contract. Now, you gave them consent to abuse you, to abuse the fictitious entity that was created from the living man and woman that you represent, that you are the actor representing, you are playing a role. Because it's all about accessing your trust, the funds, the money. So when they so-called kill a black man and a woman in the street, they are not killing or murdering. They are not murdering a living man or woman. They are liquidating their assets because they need to access that trust fund. Yes, we are all trust fund babies. No, it's not just the Caucasians or the so-called celebrities. No, we are all trust fund babies. That's the truth. And we are the true beneficiaries. But how do we know? Where's my water at? Oh, it's over there. How do we know? So I hope this makes sense. I hope it makes sense. So you see how all this started? It started with a contract, a covenant on bond paper. the informant, our parents signed it, and you became property of the federal government. So you have no rights. You only have privileges that was awarded to you. And privileges can and will be taken at the will of those who give you those privileges. And that's why the Constitution, the organic Constitution for the United States of America, was put in place so that these governmental entities, agencies or agents, so that they could be kept in check. Yes, we the people wrote the Constitution. We ordained it so that we could keep them in check. But they are being dishonorable because they are not serving the people who put them there. Well, someone asked, how do we access the trust? I know they have different ways of doing that. I haven't gotten into that, so I can't give you. One thing you'll learn from me is this: if I don't have the information, I will not give it. I know some people say that there are ways to access this. I know people talk about getting, numbers from your birth certificate and, QSIP numbers and all that stuff. It's a process. I personally am not versed on it. I haven't studied it, so I can't give information on that. However, I am giving you enough information so that you could start researching into that. And be very careful, brothers and sisters. Be careful, because there are a lot of people out there giving information that's incorrect, information that may cause you harm. All right? I'm certainly sure there are probably ways to do it. Okay, but I personally don't know, so I can't say. Another question was, it makes sense. How do we get around this? One thing I could tell you for sure, seeing that everything is voluntary, okay? It's all voluntary. When you say something is yours, then you accept the liability. All right. So now that you are saying that the birth certificate is yours, then you are claiming that that's you. Now, I hear a lot of people talk about authenticating birth certificates, thinking that's going to make you free. No. Okay. The authentication of a birth certificate doesn't mean that you are free. No. I'm certainly sure there are advantages. It depends on what you want to do. I'm certainly sure authenticating your birth certificate is a good thing, especially if you want to get a passport. All right, whether it may be a US passport or a passport as a national. All right, and if you authenticate your birth certificate, all you're doing is the Secretary of State is authenticating it, bringing forth the knowledge that this is a recognized document. It's official. So just to be on the safe side, let us look at the definition of authentication. We have to look at the definition of that, because a lot of people think when they authenticate, it means that they are free. No, it doesn't mean that. Definition of authenticate. Definition of authentication. Okay, here we go. All right, beautiful. I'm going to share my screen and once more, and we're going to look at the definition of authentication so that you know exactly what it means. All right. Now, so when a lot of people say that I'm going to get my birth certificate authenticated, I'm certainly sure there are reasons, justifiable reasons to do that sometimes. Like I said, getting a passport, to do certain things. Yes, you could do that. But authenticating your birth certificate doesn't make you free. Let us look at authentication, the definition of authentication. Now, the process or action of proving something is to be true, genuine, or valid. All right, here we go again. The process or action of verifying verifying the identity of a user or a process. So therefore, if you are authenticating your birth certificate, all you are doing is the Secretary of State is proving or showing it is true, genuine. Again, it is verifying your identity as a user or process. So you are literally validating the fact that you are their property. Now, don't get me wrong. There may be privileges that you could use through by doing the authentication. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying do it either. But all I'm just saying is when the Secretary of State authenticate your birth certificate, he or she is verifying your identity, or they are showing that it is true or genuine. So you are literally saying, yes, that's me. I'm your property. That's the way to look at it. Okay. Or I am a citizen of that state or the United States, and I'm using this to get a passport or for travel documents. So again, there are perks, to use those things for whatever reason that you feel you need to. However, it's not to free you. It doesn't mean that you're free. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're free. Someone says no solution to this but to let this country go under. I can't say there is no solution. There is solution. Why? Because we the people are the government. And if the people don't realize that they are the ones who have to make the change, every man and woman must take responsibility for their own lives. Okay? People have become too dependent on the government. So therefore, the government feel it has an obligation to take care of you. But at the same time, what is it going to cost you in return? Yes, privileges that can and will be taken from you. You see what I'm saying? And that's exactly what it means. Thank you, Shelly. I appreciate that, because we don't need no negative energy coming into here. Like I said, haters are going to continue to hate, but let them hate. We ain't worried about that. We're going to continue to teach the people. All right? So at the ending of the day, you have to take the initiation, okay, to get your life back in order. You are the one that's giving them permission. You are the one that's consenting. It's voluntary. Remember, these people are public servants. Public servants. Who is the public? We are the public. Who are the servants? They are the servants. So everything is voluntary. It is absolutely voluntary. So there is a solution. We, the people, have to stand up and take control of our lives once again. Okay? Let me just block this fool here real quick, because like I said, you have all these demonic energies out there. One thing I'm gonna tell y'all is this: the Creator don't play, and y'all gonna face some. I tell you, I'm not even gonna get into all that, but I'm gonna continue to make this happen. All right. So the truth of the matter is, brothers and sisters, the information is out there. It is out there, and you have to take responsibility. You have to protect your children. Stop bringing your children into a world and making them slaves. Stop giving them away. So when they so-called shoot a black man or a black woman in the street, they are not getting rid of a living man and woman. No, they are getting rid of property. They are liquidating that property, because now that that person is so-called dead, they could access their trust fund, liquidate it, and draw the millions and millions and billions of dollars from that trust account. At the ending of the day, brothers and sisters, it's all business to them. That's why they tell you the United States was built on small businesses. You think the small business is a little a little hole in the wall with merchandise. No, you are the small business. And all the small businesses come together, okay, creates the big business. That is the truth. So when they pull you into court and you consent, immediately they have activated that trust. And when they put you in jail, believe me, they are getting paid. Even when they put you on probation, because your probation officers they have to get paid. And the only way for them to get paid is they have to access your trust. They have to access your trust. Okay, give me a second. Let me block this idiot again. Give me a second, please. All right. So once again, like I said, demonic energies will always be around because we live in a world of duality. So don't think everybody, you see, one thing is this, right? One thing is this. Everybody think we are supposed to be all singing kumbaya together. That's never going to happen. And don't get me wrong, I'm a very positive man. I am very optimistic, but I'm also a realist. I know that we live in a world of duality. You have negative and you have positive. It has to exist. So therefore, some people came to be negative. Some people came to tear things down. Some people came to be disagreeables. That's just in their nature. That is what they manifest here for. So everybody's not going to sing kumbaya. It's not going to happen. Don't get it twisted. Oh, well, we all supposed to get along. Why we all just can't get along? No, we all are not going to get along. You have different frequencies. You have righteous frequencies and you have unrighteous frequencies. And the unrighteous frequencies, they are going to flock together because birds of a feather flock together. And you have the positive frequencies, they are going to flock together. That is just what it is. There is always, it's a spiritual war. Whether you want to be a part of it or not, you are in it. And you have to choose your side. You could be on the side of the Most High or be on the side of that negative energy that's here to consume the positive children of the Most High. That is just the truth. Okay? So you have to take control of your own life. You. They cannot control you unless you give them control. Now, I've heard this before. Well, how does me changing myself or who I am in this system change them or prevent them from shooting me or arresting me or doing this or doing that? Oh, it does. Because one thing you have to realize is this: there is order in the universe. There is order. And unless we hold these people responsible, nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. And that's the truth. That's the honest truth. You have to make the change. You, me, we have to make the change. That's it. Okay? So once again, now that you know the root of the problem, it was that document that was created for you as a baby that put us into involuntary slavery, involuntary servitude, and whatever contract that was signed or bond that was created, we were supposed to be in that form of contract or slavery for 400 years. It wasn't physical slavery. It was on paper genocide. So the decolonization has to start. You have to make yourself a living man and woman again and stop being property. Stop being that all capital letters because you are getting privileges, because you're driving a what you call a nice car. You have a nice home. You have a good job. You are still property. You are still a slave. And guess what? It doesn't matter how much money you make. if they want to take everything from you today, they will take it from you. All they have to do is create a situation and take it from you because you are their property. Go ask these celebrities when they're ready to take them down, what they do. They create situations and they take it all away from them. Facts. So at the ending of the day, you are responsible for your own life. So step up. Okay, look into the information I gave you. Look into it. And you will know whether it's true or not. Look into the information. But my advice to you, well, I'm not going to give advice, but for me, moving forward, right? If I were to have any more children, my children are not going to have birth certificates. No, they're not. I'm going to create my own because I am not going to continue to create a perpetual cycle of slavery with my bloodline. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. No, I owe it to them for knowing the truth. You see, I'm not going to sacrifice them for privileges. I'm not going to sacrifice them for money. I'm not going to do that for fame. No, no. But a lot of people are doing it. Some people are aware of it, and some people are not aware of it. Either way, you are still doing it. So your children are not your children. They belong to them because you signed them away. Okay? So when you talk about, oh, well, it's my children, it's my child, you can't tell me what to do. Oh, yes, they can tell you what to do with your child. And that's why they could come take them. Because you signed that child away. All right? So I hope you guys got some information. Now, I never like to give information without giving some type of solution because it's like, why complain about the problem and you have no solutions? You might as well just leave it alone, right? Well, here we go. Now that you know the situation, first, validate the information. Look into the information, whether it's true or not. And then you take the steps in letting these people know, again, that that contract that was created, it was created without your free and prior consent. So therefore, it's null and void. Okay? You do not accept any responsibility or liability. Okay? It's theirs, it's yours, keep it. I didn't want it. I didn't make that decision. So it's not mine. I am not your property. I am not a legal person. I am not a slave. I am a man. And if you're a woman, then in your case, you are a woman. And what people don't realize is this. The system, the courts, they cannot put a man or a woman in jail. They could only incarcerate property, legal persons. Legal persons are not real. They are not real. So they could only lock up a legal person. They could only let a legal person pay a citation. Okay? Yes, they may arrest a man or a woman, but when you go before a judge, once you go as a man or a woman, the judge knows when you step in not in the court, but before the court as a man or a woman. And those charges will be discharged. And now you could hold that man that's acting as a police officer liable. And yes, you could seek redress, just and fair compensation for trespassing upon your property. Because you see, this physical body is my property. It is the property of the spirit, the higher self. The higher self lives within this body. So that's my property. I do not consent and I do not wish for you to infringe on my property. You have no right to do that. So as long as you learn the language and you're able again to articulate yourself, then you will be just fine. It doesn't mean that, you know, an ignorant officer, it doesn't mean that an officer who wants to just violate your right blatantly, it doesn't mean that he or she cannot do that. Yes, they can. However, once they do that, that's unlawful. They are not being honorable. It's a breach of contract, a breach of trust. So, like I tell people, always don't fight the man or woman that's acting as an officer. The man or woman who fight and run away live to fight another day. So don't fight. If they got to give you a ticket, take the ticket. If they want to put you in handcuffs, hey, let it be. At least you are going to be alive so that you could fight in a different way. So now when you go before the court, make sure that you know how you are going to fight. And now you could come back and hold that man or woman that's acting as an officer, hold them liable for trespassing, infringing upon your rights as a man or a woman. And believe me, they will pay. Like I said, there is ways, there's order to this. There is different levels to this. And you just have to educate yourself. All right? So the system will fall, that unlawful system will fall if the people educate themselves. If they get the knowledge and they apply the knowledge, that's the only way for it to happen. It all began with the people and it has to end with the people. You see, when it comes to this fiat currency, this paper, this worthless piece of paper, people will destroy people's lives for it. Yes, they will. And these agents and these entities, they are accessing money and they will do anything to get it. It is up to you to protect yourself, to make sure they don't access that through you. It is your responsibility. So with that being said, I'm about to end this live feed. I am going to take a couple of questions. If anybody have any questions that they feel like they want to ask, we could take a few before we end this. I am getting a little hungry. I got to go put something in my system. But I hope you guys, this information is useful to you. All right. Because again, it's public information. The information is facts, but you have to go research it yourself to validate all the information that was provided today. All right. So like I said, a lot of the solutions is for you to study. All right. Study, study, study. What do you study? You study your rights as a man or a woman. Understand exactly what the Constitution means. All right. When is it applicable? Okay. Learn common law. Learn how to stand. All right. Learn how to defend yourself against all the unlawful acts that these people call legal. It may be legal, but it's unlawful. And there's a difference. So you have to learn the difference. All right. And stop being legal persons. Stop being that capital letter. It means that you are dead, dead on arrival. And that's why you are dead more than you are alive. Because they cannot abuse a living man or woman. No entity, no government, a man or a woman isn't supposed to harm another man or woman. And anybody who wants to hurt another man or a woman, whether it may be physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever way, they are not righteous. And the government knows this. So that's why they had to create a fake you, for them to abuse the fake you so that they could sleep at night. It's the only way they get to sleep at night, because everybody has a conscience and they know what they're doing is wrong. So what they had to do was they say, you know what, man, we can't be doing this to people, to the people. So we have to create a system, all right, where we create a version, a shadow version of them, so we could abuse that, make them think it's them, so that we could put that in jail, let them pay fines, do whatever we have to, as long as we are getting paid. And that's just the bottom line. All right. That's what this is about. All right. So I'm about to end this video. Once again, I thank all of you who have tuned in. Like I always say, the haters will continue to hate. Y'all cannot stop the light. Y'all cannot stop the shine. All right. So the email is below. Always want to link with positive people and righteous people, and that's it. No other negative energy. Nah, I ain't dealing with that. All right. Progress. All right. Positive progress. That's what this is all about. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Research the information, spend time with your family, and hey, just be good to each other, man. You know, the laws of the universe are so simple. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's that simple, man. It's that simple. If you want people to be good to you, be good to them. If you want people to be true to you, be true to them. If you want people to love you, love them. Anybody else who's doing anything opposite to that, you know what I'm saying? Those people are not people you should mess with, period. And for all those of you who are gravitating to negative energies, man, all of y'all gonna burn into this fictitious hell that they created. You know what I'm saying? It's not real, but guess what? Your soul, your spirits is gonna burn. That's what it feels like. It's an allegory, and that's what it means. You are gonna feel it in the spiritual realm. So y'all continue with y'all negativity. I ain't worried about it. All right. Hey, Shelly Twin, appreciate love you too. So thank you. You guys have always been by my side, man, and that means a lot. And for all those other positive frequencies that are continuously showing support and positivity, I appreciate you. And like I said, let's continue to do this. All right. So seeing that there are no questions, I'm going to assume that I did a decent job at least on breaking the information down. So I hope you guys could research that and start putting things in perspective. Start changing things, okay? The only way to make change or for change to take effect, okay, is for you to implement the change, all right? It's for you to step up and make it happen. Once again, it's not going to take a lot of people to do it. No, one man, one woman can and will change the world. You just have to make up your mind. No matter what people say, no matter what people do, I am going to make a difference. And that's what I have told myself. I am going to make a difference. I don't care who say what, who do what. I, Chief Kalanago, I am a man and I am going to make a difference. And that's all that matters. I am holding myself accountable because I am here to give life and not death. Okay? So enjoy the rest of your day, and I will be talking to you guys at another time. Peace, love, and light.